Governor Sim Fubara arrives Port Harcourt amidst jubilation from supporters. He is committing to peace, thanking President Bola Tinubu for his intervention. President Bola Tinubu is in Kaduna State for the second time in about 2 months, this time around on a social visit. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale here in Abuja. We're bringing you all of your top stories in politics as we know it this hour. Let's begin in Kaduna, where we saw President Bola Tinubu visiting the state on a one-day visit. The president arrived at the Kaduna International Airport at about 1 p.m. earlier today. It was received by the Kaduna State Governor, Uba Sani, who was accompanied by the Governor of Borno State, Babangana Zulum, some ministers, senators, and other top government officials. The president is in Kaduna to attend the wedding ceremony between Nasiruddin Yari and Safiya Idris. During the visit, Nasiruddin is the son of a former Zamfara State Governor and incumbent senator representing Zamfara West. The President Tinubu during the visit is expected to also pay a visit which he has done to the family of the late President Muhammadu Buhari. All right, we're going to be taking a closer look at what is happening in Rivers State, plus a possibility of an oil and gas petroleum crisis in this country if it's not well managed. Where do we go from here? But first, before we get into all of that, let me serve you with some of your political roundup stories. Let me take you to Rivers State first and foremost. I will bring in you the political roundup just in a moment. It was a fanfare of some sort where we saw Governor Sim Fubara arrived at Port Harcourt, an anticipated arrival from the airport.
Crowd has basically swallowed the governor inside.
The governor of Rivers State, Sim Fubara, arrived into the warm hands of jubilant supporters who welcomed him into the state after a lot of excitement to greet the air upon the suspension of the 6-month emergency rule. The governor arrived at the Port Harcourt International Airport at about 12:19 p.m. earlier today, more than 24 hours after President Bola Tinubu ended the 6-month emergency rule in the state. He was greeted by a crowd of supporters who had earlier converged at the VIP wing of the airport awaiting his arrival, where the House of Assembly had resumed yesterday. We saw today Governor Sim Fubara arriving in town alongside his deputy. But the governor, in a statewide address in Rivers State at about 6 p.m. today, he pledged to work harmoniously with the Rivers State House of Assembly to recover lost ground and accelerate the advancements of social and economic development of the state. Let me allow you to listen to a portion of the state broadcast by Governor Sim Fubara.
Accepted to abide by the state of emergency declaration and choose to cooperate with Mr. President and the National Assembly, guided by my conviction that no sacrifice was too great to secure peace, stability, and progress. of Rivers State. This was why I also resisted the pressure to challenge the constitutionality of the declaration of the state of emergency, the suspension of democratic institution, and all other action that we endured during the difficult period. We believe the political crisis is now behind us and that peace and stability have once again returned to Rivers State, though not without the hard lessons learned from the emergency rule. The responsibility now rests squarely on us, the government, the State House of Assembly, the political leaders, the stakeholders, to put aside our differences, work for the common good, advance the interests of our people above all else. Personally, I will never take Mr. President's kindness for granted, and for that, I hereby reaffirm my utmost loyalty and eternal gratitude. To those who have expressed genuine fear, frustration, and uncertainty over the nature of the peace process, I assure you that your concerns are valid and understood. However, nothing has been irretrievably lost. There remain ample opportunity for necessary adjustment, continued reconciliation, and inclusiveness. We must all remember the saying, the costless peace is cheaper than the cheapest war.
That's Governor Siminalayi Fubara. We'll be making sense of what some of the statements made by Governor Fubara just in a moment. My guest is ready to dissect that for us and give a sense of what is happening on the ground, the way the Rivers people are feeling and receiving the situation. It is real peace that a lot of people are expecting in Rivers State. Democratic governance return to Rivers State. But what does this mean for the Rivers people? We will be talking with my guest, but in a moment, let me serve you now with your political roundup stories.
The National Institute of Legislative Studies and the National Judicial Institute have pledged to foster deeper energy between both organizations by training and partnering with each other for effective capacity building. The heads of both agencies made this pledge at a meeting in Abuja. The Director General of the Institute of Legislative Studies, Professor Abubakar Suleiman, used the medium to advise the National Judicial Institute to guide the judiciary in delivering conflicting judgments. Reprieve may have come the way of the residents of Gwarinpa, Kaduna, and Jabi and Life Camp as the FCT administration flags off small projects to ease human and vehicular traffic usually experienced during rush hours. Speaking at the flag-off ceremony for the construction of the Northern Parkway from Ring Road 2 to 3, the Minister of the FCT, Mr. Yesom Wike, says the project is part of a campaign promises with targets making the nation's capital among the best globally. He also asked FCT residents to vote in leaders who can help transform both the infrastructure and the lives of the residents. From Benin City, where the Edo State Independent Electoral Commission, ETIEC, has filed a motion on notice through its legal practitioners seeking to discharge an ex parte order from an Edo State High Court restraining it from conducting Saturday's councillorship by-election taking place in 59 wards in 15 local government areas in the state. In the press statement signed by the chairman of ETIEC, Jonathan Ifo-Bokan, he says the commission was not even given a chance to be heard before the ex parte order was granted, saying the commission remains committed to delivering free, fair and credible elections in line with the rule of law as stipulated by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Lastly, the People's Democratic Party has directed the South-South Zonal Caretaker Committee of the party to immediately take charge of the affairs of the Cross River State chapter onto the conduct of the State Congress scheduled for Saturday, 27 September 2025. The decision was taken at the party's National Working Committee meeting in Abuja. In a statement issued by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Mr. Debo Olugwangba, the decision is to ensure there is no vacuum in the affairs of the party in Cross River State before the emergence of a new state executive for the chapter.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So let's now break it down for you. You saw what happened today how Governor Siminalayi Fubara was received into Port Harcourt. And so I'm trying to imagine what exactly is it for those who received him. Is it a jubilation of the end of the emergency rule, or the fact that they've missed Governor Fubara? Is it so loved, or is it the fact that people are now expecting that democratic governance is returned to the center? Where exactly are the feelings? Let's get a sense of one of those who have been in the forefront of fighting for a Fubara return to office. He's one of the elders, one person who made the raised an alarm that Fubara was missing because he was not seen. It's Chief Saraibe, one of the elders in Rivers State. Thank you so much, Chief Igwe, for joining us tonight. Thank you so much. What does this mean for Rivers people? And you can see the jubilation and how they welcome Governor Fubara. Is there any significance to this?
Well, since yesterday, the people of Rivers State are happy and they are jubilating because it is a known fact that they missed their governor, the governor they elected themselves. And since he has come back, or since they promised bringing him back, there is this tendency of everybody being happy to try to see him. And I think they are jubilating because they believe that in the past 6 months, development has stopped in River State. The solar administrator that came never did anything in River State, and all the projects are coming to a halt. And so now that same has returned, that is this belief that, oh, the Savior has come back, that projects will now be coming up across the state. So that is why I see all the jubilations across the state, and people are sincerely.
On one hand, the jubilation. On the other hand, is the political party affiliation love and support. Which one? Do you think that this crowd that we are seeing today, is it a mix of just ordinary supporters, or they are majorly party people?
Well, so far as I know, the crowd you are seeing, they are genuine party affiliate or something. But Rivers people are coming out in their numbers to express their love for the governor, and also to send a signal to Nigeria that same Fubara is the key to whatever you can say that will happen in the state. And we believe that there is nothing to go about it than genuine love for him.
Chief Igwe, do you think in your own mind that truly peace has returned to Rivers?
Well, we all believe that peace has returned. Because if you recall, Central Television had a workshop where I came out to say, look, what we did in Rivers State is now peace. And I called Wike to call his godson into his private room, lock the door, and let two of them resolve and come back and tell us. And I also advised him to go back to say to Wike and let them make peace. That evening, Wike responded and said, yes, same is his boy, and let them make peace. So Rivers people are very happy that Same and Wike have met and resolved their differences. And to that extent, the Assembly had also met with Same, and they have resolved their differences. So we believe that peace has returned, and we want to sustain that peace. We want Same to reach out to the Assembly once again, and to Wike and everybody that they feel is opposed to him, to ensure that there is peace in the state. Because that is the only way development can go round in the state. Where there is no peace, there cannot be development. We have all seen, and they have also learned their lessons. Both parties have seen they have learned their lessons because of the crisis. Somebody who is not from Rivers State came in and plundered our resources without any significant development in the state. And since we have democracy now in Rivers State, I think we are satisfied. I will encourage all of them to make sure that there's peace in the state.
So if you look at it, there are those, when you say plunder, is that a fair statement for someone who came on a rescue mission for that a 6-month hiatus? So in Rivers, could that be fair on the administrator when you say plunder the resources? He was asked to come and take up a very difficult job that a lot of people might not want to accept.
I don't know what job he did, because Rivers State has been very peaceful before he came. It has been very peaceful till he left. If there is need for democracy, emergency room, I think that should be in Borno, Benue, Plateau, Nasarawa, or other northern part of the country, right? The National Assembly knows that Section 11(4) tied their hand, because it's very clear that, yes, they have to make laws for the state in the absence of the House of Assembly, but they cannot make laws to remove the governor or deputy governor. Section 305 is also very clear. They don't empower anybody to remove governor, deputy governor, or House of Assembly. But for us in Rivers State, that is no longer the issue. The issue is our son has returned, and we are appealing to everybody to work with him closely so that we can develop our state. Let him build bridges across to all stakeholders, including those who had issues with him at one time or the other. And let them also reciprocate his gesture of making peace, so that peace can come. But for the sole administrator, I, as a person, cannot say the feasible things he did. He cannot point to anything he did in Rivers State as at the time he left. So 6 months was enough. Same build roads that don't last 6 months. There are legacy projects that were all stalled. And that did the same has come, and those projects will now continue to work.
Now, are you one of those who are saying we need to know what happened in that 6 months? Accountability in governance, the finances, the state of affairs, there needs to be an account. Are you one of those? And if that is the case, who should look into that? Who should be responsible in looking into what happened in that 6 months? Is it the House of Assembly, or the president who appointed, or the governor who is the leader of the state? In your own sense, what do you think should happen? Or we should just say bygone be bygones, the 6 months is behind us, and let's move forward?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, we don't have judiciary in Nigeria, so there is no point going into issues that the judiciary will not attend to, or they will be reckless with.
Judiciary, sir? That may not be factual. We have judiciary,
I'm saying the judiciary is sleeping on duty, and they are now an appendix to the presidency. Likewise, the National Assembly is an appendix to the presidency. They are no longer doing what is right, to me, in my own judgment. And therefore, there is no point wasting your time to say you're probing him. But if at all there should be probed on the administration of the federal administrator, there are institutions like the EFCC, ICPC, the National Assembly, or the House of Assembly. The governor should not bother himself at all with probing the federal administrator. He should concern himself with peace building and how to bring development across the state. That is my advice to the government. He should not disturb himself at all. Let the House of duty it is to investigate. Let the duty of the National Assembly duty it is to investigate. And let the EFCC. Because my fear, even if they investigate and send to the judiciary, to still come back to square one. And so there's no point. But if they want to investigate, let them investigate, and let's see whether the judiciary will become a new judiciary.
See what those who are giving credit to President Bola Tinubu, that even up for him, a lot bad things would have happened in Rivers State. And see what the governor said. The governor said, quote, "Personally, I will never take Mr. President's kindness for granted. And for that, I hereby reaffirm my utmost loyalty and eternal gratitude." And of course, those are the words of Governor Simlaye Fubara. Do you agree with him?
Well, you know, Sim is the most peaceful man I've seen on this earth. A very simple man, very peaceful person. If you look at all the crises, Sim never fought back wicked or the assembly member. Sim was only defending himself. He's such a peace-lovely man. He never challenged the emergency room. And he was so loyal. So that is what is going in for him. That's why the people love him. Because when you are the peacemaker, you are the peaceful person. The Bible says, because the peaceful people will get peace. So the rulers people are so down, because for a peaceful man like this, a governor who has enormous power and he never uses power. So we believe he will be a better person for us to rule the state, because it's not bothered about powers, it's not bothered about wealth. He believes in service. So whatever decision he has taken, so to us is good for the state. And that is why we are saying, don't bother yourself with proving anything, but continue to go ahead to develop the state. Because we might have different opinions, but our opinion does not matter at this stage. We are all changing our stance. When at the time we were saying no, now we are all saying yes, let peace return. Whatever happens, we can enjoy each other. We can tolerate each other. We can dialogue with each other and achieve that peace we need in Rivers State. And that is what I stand for also. And that's what the majority of Rivers people also stand for, that we need dialogue and we need peace to reign in the state.
I mean, you are not one of those who will give credit. If not for what Bola Tinubu did, Rivers would have been on fire. But, I mean, and perhaps what Governor Fubara is saying is that he thank him for the effort, and he's not going to take it for granted. And those who are saying Rivers people need to thank Bola Tinubu for his effort. If not, Rivers would have burned.
Well, the governor and the president are chief security officers. Maybe they have more information that we don't have. So they see more things we don't see. And so if Fubara decide to thank Mr. President because of what he saw, which we did not see, no problem. And at this stage, we are not even apportioning blame to anybody. Rivers were not interested in apportioning blame to anybody. So far as we are concerned, our government is back, and we want to get peace. Our attention today now is how do we drive that peace process in such a manner that all parties will be key into it, and progress will come into River State. That is our concern. We are not ready to share blame. We are not ready to apportion blame to anybody. It has happened. It's bygone now. Let's move ahead.
You are one of those who spoke profusely against the politics of Nyesom Wike. But, I mean, yesterday on the program, the FCT minister said, well, he's made peace and they are going to work harmoniously. Are you happy with that understanding?
Well, like I said, I thank Nyesom Wike for honoring his words when, after my interview, he said to make peace. I thank him for that. I also thank the people like my uncle, Chief Ferdinand Abraba, who are behind him and have also approved that as we peace. The likes of O.C. Jokusha, the likes of O.C. Real Majesty, as I would say, who all came up with him to make sure we have this peace. I thank them. I thank the National Assembly also for also agreeing to make peace. Because if they are not agreeing to make peace, maybe we'll still be fighting ourselves and a stranger will still be there and enjoying our wealth. But since they've all agreed to make peace, for me, that is the greatest thing I can say, because that is more important to me than what has happened in the past. What has happened in the past has gone. We are no longer interested in the past, we are interested in the present. And the present now, every River son and daughter wants peace, including the assembly members, UK himself, and other leaders, because peace is paramount, peace is the key to development and key to progress. So since they've all key to that peace, we forgive everybody, and they're also ready to forgive all of us who at one time or the other stood against what was going on in the States.
My big fear is this. Anyone who understands and knows and been monitoring Rivers politics for a long time coming, we know that Rivers politics is so intense and very volatile a lot of the times. How do we guard against the kind of thing that happened over the last few months? So, that is not happening again. Is there a way, or is there anything that could be done such that we don't see the escalation of political bickering and violence that we saw, which in any case had the bar and stop the wheel of governance and progress in the state dramatically?
Well, I have been in politics for about 45, 46 years. No matter what happens in River State, when we come together, we see ourselves as brothers. We are not as volatile as I sure that we should be. About 45, 46 years experience, 1979 to today, you can see us eating together, drinking together. I will recall in 1983, I contested against Ernest Karimo and Benimo. And we are contesting against each other, but we are still drinking together, we are still eating together. And that is the kind of politics we play in River State. We play politics without bitterness. And so whatever people think that's going to happen in River State is not the style of River State. I have never seen where we go to the extreme of burning down houses, destroying ourselves because we disagree. Politics is all about agreement and disagreement. We all have our own view, we all have our opinion, and that is what we have been doing all this while. We don't fight ourselves to the point of death. The years on which my friend, we used to eat together. And I believe after now we can still eat together. I have nothing against him, he has nothing against me. All right, like I said, President Adabraba is my uncle, but we disagreed on principle. Today, when we go home, we work in the same family, in the same house, we eat together, we do everything together. That's the politics we play in River State. We don't play politics with bitterness. And so, now that there is peace, that peace definitely will go down to the grassroots. And everybody will welcome it and work together as one family. We are one family, and we don't need to behave like those other people who see themselves as enemies. We are not enemies. Today, politics is not a permanent friend, no permanent friend, no permanent enemy. And so, it's something that is always dynamic. So if we disagree today, doesn't mean we will not agree tomorrow. So we have disagreed to agree now. Yeah. And I believe that peace is what everybody needs to realize.
For some of us who have dodged bullets in covering elections in Rivers State, know that some of the disagreement that you have in that state when it comes to politics, some of us, we see it as it looks like war. Maybe it's normal to you, but it's abnormal to some of us. I've dodged bullets have gone across my head. I've almost lost my life covering election in Nigeria, either in Bayelsa or Rivers. Rivers is the most intense that I've seen. I mean, I've had my colleague who had literally in the jugular and almost lost his life in Rivers politics. So, Chief Igwe, when you say that when you your disagreement is like war in other climes, well, and it's not a joke, but on the final note, Chief Igwe, this is how I'd like us to anchor. Not a joke, but on the final note, Chief Igwe, this is how I'd like us to anchor. What I would like you to tell us is, what lesson do you think this has for Governor Sim Fubara? What lesson? What is the biggest lesson in all of this?
The lesson I've learned from Fubara is a very patient person. He's not a desperate politician, right? So I've learned a lot because he will tell you peace. He's a peace-loving governor. Despite the powers he has, he never exercises his power. He's very peaceful, very enduring, and always smiling. And he's very confident of himself. And even if you advise him, look, this would harm you, he said, leave it. Leave it. We will resolve it. We will resolve it. And today we're happy that things are being resolved. Because if he's a younger person than me, but sometimes you can be angry. And the same will tell you, don't be angry, forget it. We are the same persons, and we can resolve it. I can tell you, there was a time some of us asked him to even take the assembly members to court for perjury. He said, drop it. Don't go think of that. We are one family. We are the same brothers. We are the same friends. Why must I imprison anybody? So if the character like that is the head, you can see that peace will always be there. And I think so many people have learned that lesson, that the man we have as a governor is a peaceful person. And so we will also be peaceful with him.
We wish the Rivers people peace indeed. Some of us have seen the worst of Rivers politics, and we hope that those dark days will no return. Thank you so much. Chief Sarah Igwe is an elder in Rivers State affairs. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Joe, for finding time to hold it down.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Captain Walker, when we come back, is the politics and the war of oil and gas in Nigeria. Dangote is in the middle of it, and the man has spent that we've seen between unions and the Dangote Refinery. The fear is that it might impact on the bottom line. And which is it? We'll find out after this break. Join us again, everyone. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. There is a storm in town, and this time around it's coming from every side, either from the sea or from the land. And it's birthed in the very domot in the local parlance of Dangote Refinery. And the man is speaking so boldly and so confidently about what the refinery stands for. And what we've seen in the Nigeria's oil and gas sector has become a competition war which has unfolded right in our eyes between Dangote Refinery and transportation unions under the umbrella of NUPENG. What began as dispute over fuel distribution has now escalated into strike action, court battles, and both new business moves, all with direct implications for fuel supply and pump prices across the country. The controversies deepened after the refinery announced the importation of 4,000 CNG power trucks to distribute products directly, effectively cutting out traditional transport middlemen. What does this mean to the entire gamut of the oil and gas sector, from the refinery to the filling station? I'm being joined by Nigeria's energy consultant, Mr. Daniel Kunle. He's live for us here now. So it's good to see you, Dandy.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you for the opportunity you have extended to me.
Thank you so much.
To be on this popular platform.
Thank you so much indeed, sir. It is very intriguing, actually, what has happened. And there are fears of people who thought that maybe things could have been managed properly. First and foremost is the fact that Dangote reneged, because there was an understanding between Dangote Refinery. They came into the MOU. DSS intervened in the matter. We saw the Ministry of Labor intervene in the matter, but there was an MOU. Few days later, NUPENG says Dangote has reneged and is removing the sticker and all whatnot. Why would Dangote renege? Is that in the interest of the Nigerian people?
So I think you have a very wonderful global audience, and it's good to set the record straight. Dangote did not renege. In fact, I will avoid talking much about NUPENG Dangote issue, because we are still talking. They are still talking, and they are still meeting.
So they are having conversations.
Yes, so the MOU is still running. It's still running. It's live. It's still running. It has not come to an end. And the authority, Minister of Labor, and the Office of the State Service said if the MOU and the negotiation breaks down, they should come back. They should let them know.
So there is a case in court. Are you aware?
No.
There is an order of court.
Don't let
Abuja.
us. Yeah, don't
There's
let
an
us.
industrial court order from industrial court. Are you aware?
No, don't. There's no problem. Let the MOU run out. If the MOU run out and there are issues, they will go back to the authorities. So don't let me say anything here that will prejudice the whole process.
Let me ask you.
But there's no problem. The whole exercise is for the common good of the Nigerian people.
Let me ask you a few questions. And I imagine that with your vast experience over the last 20 years or more you've really worked in the sectors from the government side and outside of government and private sector. I'm very sure you've been to Texas. Yeah. I'm very sure that you've been to Saudi Arabia. You've seen how this thing operates. You've been to Liverpool. You've been to places where business of oil and gas operate. There are those who have argued that Dangote Refinery's direct distribution strategy, bypassing existing and edging out these trucking middlemen in the name of unions and importing thousands of trucks, is not just about efficiency, but about edging out long-standing players. How do you respond to those who see this as an attempt to monopolize Nigeria's fuel supply chain?
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, you are correct. I've traveled across the globe. Oil and gas I've been to everywhere on oil and gas in the last 25 years. What we inherited in this industry, oil and gas sector in Nigeria, we inherited a structure that was not designed by us. The oil and gas architecture in Nigeria was designed by the international oil companies. The technology was in their hand. The financial and the capital was in their hand. So the know-how was in their hand. So over the years, a lot of Nigerians have trained, have gone to school to read geology, read mechanical engineering, everything to have done well. But when it comes to the managerial input to oil and gas, in the last 30 years, Nigeria have not done well at all. When you compare us with companies like Petronas, like Pertamina of Indonesia, when you compare us to companies like KNOC of Korea, when you compare us to Aramco, when you compare us with even British Petroleum, that was unbundled to become British Gas Centrica. So you will see that we have not done well. Petrobras built a world-class research center in Houston, and from there they developed the scientific breakthrough for their offshore pre-salt oil exploration and development in offshore Brazil. So we have not done well. So this issue of whether the coming of Dangote was based on vision. He looked at the entire landscape of the oil and gas industry, and he saw that this place was a jungle. So he said, oh, let me go in and see if I can sanitize it. I have done it in sugar, I've done it in salt, I've done it in cement.
Sanitize or monopolize?
No. The word, that is even the word it is that word that brought me here now. This conversation will continue until that word is diminished. Because the word monopoly has no space here at all. You people are squeezing it in, and it has no space. Because he brought in capacity, scale, and efficiency into an industry that was very battered. An industry that has become a cartel. An industry that was running inefficiently, gross inefficiency with all the misbehaviors in it. So if I take you through a small history, you will agree with me. When they were building all these tank farms in Apapa and Tinkan, 2006, 2007, there was a helicopter view ride by the then MD of Nigerian Port Authority, and I think the then Minister of Petroleum, I think Dr. Chief Dakoro, His Royal Highness now, that look, these tank farms were going to become a problem in that corridor because there were too many. If there's one fire outbreak, because the spirit that time was just everybody want to import products and store. So nobody was investing in building refinery or fixing government refinery. So you can see the trend from that time to date. Everybody went into tank farm business. So Aliko came and said, no, since government resigned the sales, the privatization of the refinery of Port Harcourt and Kaduna to his group, he said, okay, let me go into the space and build a refinery. So he got licensed. The same way other people got licensed. Over 30 licenses were issued. Under Obasanjo, I think it was about 18 licenses were issued. Some of these license holders went back to NNPC and said, oh, give us crude lifting first before we can invest. I hope you can see Nigeria. So the terrain since that time and the trend since that time to date, only Aliko stood his ground and consistently built that refinery.
But
where is the monopoly now?
Understood that as a private sector person, you need to maximize the investment that you've made. But it seems that it's stepping on toes. It seems that industry players are not happy in the manner in which he's playing. It does look to me that industry players think that this man, just like he did in sugar, just like he did in flour, just like he did in salt, just like he did in cement, he has come to overwhelm the system. Isn't there other way? Because the jobs that are available in the downstream sector, now Dangote is trucking. There are those who believe Dangote is operating in the upstream. He's operating in the midstream. He's also operating in the downstream. It's an overwhelming of the space. That is what it seemed like. Don't you think?
No. Capital no. Dr. Shin, let me clear one thing. It is natural for us to resist change. What you don't study in Harvard, I've not been to Harvard. Aliko has not been to Harvard. But Aliko Dangote has become a case study in Harvard, in Cambridge, for all of us in this world. All of us. He deserves Nobel Prize. I tell you, after Wole Soyinka in this country, maybe we should give it to people like General Gowon, President Obasanjo, because of what they have achieved, like the President Tinubu, what they have achieved politically. But in industry, when you see the monumental risk this guy took, he deserves Nobel Prize. I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating.
Business is a risk.
So, yeah, business is a risk. So now to go back to your question, that is like he has come to this space to do what he has done in salt, in sugar, and in cement. In wheat mill, he has left wheat mill because wheat mill is largely import, and to grow wheat in Nigeria was not an easy thing. So it's better you grow what you can do competitively, like corn, like rice, like sorghum, so like soya beans. So he left wheat business entirely. I'm a student of Dangote industrial evolution in this country. I'm not his staff, but when people come to attack his audacity, I stand to defend him. I stand to defend the people of Nigeria. I stand to defend anybody. So I'm not in any way saying things as if I have conflict of interest. No, I am for the good of the country. So the scale he has brought to the oil and gas space is what we had expected other people to have done all these years. But they refuse to do that. But I will tell you one thing, Seun. When I was privileged to be part of the privatization process from 2003 to 2007, before I went to work in the Ministry of Energy Gas to participate in the development of the gas master plan for this country. In 2003, about November, December, we went to open the first kickoff meeting with Boston Consulting for the privatization of the refineries. And the international oil companies that were present, some of them whispered to us and say, why don't you go and build more modern, efficient receiving terminals in your ports? Receiving terminals, that is intake terminals, for us to import petroleum product efficiently. And some of them, because I don't want to mention the name of those international oil companies, some of them say, oh, look, it's cheaper for you to import because your refineries will never work. So that we should go and build world-class port facilities to be receiving product. And one of them particularly said, oh, we are the largest buyer of your crude. And we are also one of the leading supplier of product to you. As of 2003, November, December, we were in a meeting in London. So from all this background, when some of us are talking with passion, it's because we have seen it. Unfortunately, President Tinubu cannot be informed of all these things unless some of us have the privilege of sitting with him. So these things are historical.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Like, why didn't Dangote lay pipes as done in other climes, and as it was even done before now, rather than trucking across the road?
Thank you very much.
And you know that trucking is less safe.
Yes, so let me give you a good analysis of what has happened. There's a company called PPMC, Petroleum Product Marketing Company, owned by NNPC. They have unbundled it to two now. They divided it to two, which is another nonsense they have done in NNPC during the tenure of Mele. There's a company called NGC, which they also unbundled to two. This PPMC was the petroleum product marketing. They lay pipes in the 70s and 80s. They lay product pipelines to move crude and to move white products. White products mean kerosene, diesel, and petrol. Okay, now, all these pipes they laid from Atlas Cove to Ejigbo, to Mosimi, to Ibadan, to Ore. They lay it across the country like that in about 4 segments across the country. When we were in BP to privatize, we engaged a consultant from Canada to map out this existing infrastructure and unbundle them, separate the pipe from the tank farms so that there can be open access arrangement, so that the market framework can be developed. My brother, it is on record. NNPC resisted it and said it is their facility, BP cannot privatize them. They resisted them, and today they are all in ruins. So why will Dangote build refinery by the ocean now and go and say he wants to build pipeline to Ejigbo or to Mosimi? Anybody, NNPC, PPMC still own all the infrastructure now. They should go and build it now. Maybe they have a lot of money they were using to pay for subsidy. Why didn't they take that money to go and build pipeline to take product from Dangote Refinery? Dangote will not do everything. He has brought trucks to help the Nigerian consumers. And that is the shortest way for him to help the Nigerian petroleum.
Because they say that that is a Greek gift.
No, it's not a Greek. Okay, where is their French gift? Sorry, I'm not in any way insulting the French by name. If he who invented Greek gift has a reason. So where is the French gift? Or where is the British gift? Or where is the Portuguese gift? So that man should bring their own gift now.
Give me a moment. We'll go on another break, but when we come back, our closing moment on this conversation. We'll be right back, everyone. Our closing moment with Ms. Dan D. Kunle, energy consultant. But fundamentally, the competition that Dangote has thrown in the mix and the kind of play that he has brought on board will displace a lot of industry players. Don't you think?
See, we are in transition. The industry is in transition. If the regulator can be more smarter and more open and more transparent, that's the midstream, downstream regulatory authority, then the transition may go smoothly. But if they go the way they are going, I'm sorry, because it will not throw out anybody out of job. The trucks that Dangote has brought is plus what is in existence. So what is in existence, if they are worthy enough, they will go there and load once they meet the requirements. So it's not that Dangote truck alone, we truck everything. No, other people who go through the pre-qualification and they are accepted, they will go there also and load. So I think the industry is in transition. People will not lose jobs. People will
Nigerians benefit.
They will benefit a lot. In fact, this whole pricing, everything is for the good of.
Will it drive the pricing down?
It will stabilize prices. I don't like in an economy like Nigeria that is galloping and import dependent to be talking about price going down. Where is the capacity? Where is the base for price of anything to go down in Nigeria? Tell me, where is the base? If you bring 10 like Dangote into this space, power, electric power, you bring like him to agriculture, just rice, another one in yellow corn, another one in sorghum, then I can see the prices of things may start going down. But until you invest massively in infrastructure to build the base for the economy, and you develop your manpower, technical and vocational education, before you can be talking of price coming down.
Do you think Dangote needs to...
For now, we are going to live with galloping prices.
Do you think that Dangote needs to be protected by this government?
The country...
Before the sharks...
The country needs to protect him. Every nation in the world protect their domestic economy and their investors. So Dangote needs the protection of God and President Tinubu. It is time we say it.
All right. Dan D. Kunle is an energy consultant. He's been around for a while. Thanks so much indeed for your time.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shea, for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. God bless Nigeria.